couple of hours on the train if you get the connection from London. But it happens every day in countries we just don't go to. The likes of Syria. And, well, Iraq. There's not a great deal of press coverage about what's going on in Iraq at the moment. But it's on fire, basically. It's on fire. So what we saw in Paris was awful. Really awful, awful, awful. But it's going on around the rest of the world. It's been carried out by terrorists, but also by us and our allies. So a bit of context in my mind came in. But equally I got a bit pissed off with people who share similar views with me about war and the fact that it's totally stupid and pointless. Because when people showed unity with Paris and put the flag up and all that stuff on their Facebook and social media, you had like those who were, it's a bit late in the day, like you don't care about anywhere else. But the thing is, people were making a point that they didn't care about Arab countries and stuff, that and the other. To be honest, we're not informed much about it. You've got, with stuff like that, the majority of people who are on social media don't even watch the news. They're like, oh, that's boring. A lot of the people I know, I get sick of watching the news. I don't even watch the news anymore. It's boring. It's the same argument I've had about politics. I didn't care about politics, but they'll still vote. So even though they don't watch the news, they'll still have an opinion. Now what you get at the moment, there's a bit of a strange war on, because aside from the obviously the war on terror, on social media, because it is a very potent and powerful conveyor of opinion. Even though not always, a lot of those opinions aren't really genuine, because with social media there's a sense of your name's there and you're a photo, but you grow a bit of balls on social media, so you speak, you don't communicate in a way that you would with anybody else. You become a bit brave and provocative and all that stuff. People say my stuff on social media is provocative. It sort of is, but not in a sort of like obvious piss someone off way. I post things that interest us and I post things to get a reaction, but I'm not being like a twat about anything, basically. And this is where the likes of UKIP, what am I saying, UKIP? I'm obsessed with UKIP today. I've had a bit of a run-in with someone online. With the likes of Britain's First and stuff, misappropriating themselves with various causes just to promote their agenda. Apparently last year, their meeting, they had a meeting this year, the convention. There was 50 people there. Yet they've got 1 million likes on Facebook. So they are dangerous, but again, it's that bravery thing. Nobody will actually get out off their arse. Well, at the moment, nobody will get off their arse and join them, which fucking hell is a good thing, because they're a bunch of racist, fascist people who, even in attendance at remembrance parades, the guys who post those potty pictures, even at the attendances of remembrance parades, they've disrupted some in the past. Did you know that? They've disrupted them. And in fact, the bell end who runs them, I forgot his name. There's photos online of him at the remembrance parade with a pair of women's knickers on his head in front of the veterans. That's respect for the troops, our troops. You know what I mean? They've got an agenda, and it's not in the interest of the British country. It's in their warped agenda, as much as Daesh also has a warped agenda. You see what I'm getting at? But to be honest, the reason I didn't go online all week and do one of my wibbles, daily wibbles and weekly wibbles, I wanted to see how things would pan out. I sort of had an idea of the way things would pan out on social media and on the news outlets. And that's where I'm going to go now. And the politicians. The news this week surrounding these events, there's a sort of rabid entertainment value in it. It's preposterous. Now I get that guy. There was that guy from the BBC who got a bit teary and basically he didn't. There was he broke down and he didn't. He rightfully was moved emotionally, like you would be. They're not robots; they're human. And he sort of nah, that's it. And they even in the studio they went, he must have gone. He's kind of blubber. We'll just cut him off quick, and that was it. But across the press, he was some hero. He broke down in tears. Didn't he was on the verge of tears. He didn't cry. Now, but that's what I'm on about the press. They conflate everything. The press want nothing more because obviously they're not going to be there. They're not going to be shooting people and dropping bombs on people. They want nothing more than war because it fucking shifts units, and that's what they're all about. You've got to get this idea about the press out of your head that they are there to inform. They aren't. They are there to shift. If the press was there to inform, you'd have one press, wouldn't you? You'd have one newspaper with outstanding investigative journalism, and we haven't got one newspaper with outstanding investigative journalism. You're not allowed to investigate, or not just that, you're not encouraged to investigate like we used to. And anyway, it's easier to just, be like Huffington Post. Huffington Post is just fucking, it's like, it's the stupidest press thing ever. It's good to use as a meme and stick on Facebook to show what's going on, but their reportage, their investigative journalism, basically revolves around, Twitter went mad last night about this. It's like they're there, more or less now, to feed into social Twitter and report on social Twitter. Twitty-ratty, facey blooty. Tumblr, Twitter-ratty, facey books. So there's a big mess going at the moment. So what I'll do, I recommend you do this as well. Take in all of the press. Because we've got some really right-wing press. We've got some really liberal press. We haven't got a great deal of left-wing, or it's out there if you look. But if you look, it's like everything. Cut out the shit. And you can see the vein of truth. And you can glean what you want. The best way now is social media, but not. It's not really investigating people's retweets of memes or retweets of articles from somewhere else. It's opinion. The hashtag is mightier than the retweet, if you know what I mean. It's because a lot of social media. I mentioned the Iraq War in the last podcast. The reason I got a bit fucking knowledgeable about what was going on was I was on Google Earth. It had just come out, and because I loved Google Earth when it first came out. There was a proper community of people on there, and it was weird that you could talk to people from all over the world, and people showing what was going on live as it happened on the phones all over the world. But now it seems to oddly now be getting to people late or via. I think there's too much out there now. It was weird when the internet was big, but not as big as it is now. It was actually more. It was more productive. It was more informative, and you could find truth of what was going on quite easily. Now it's the opposite. So it's been a weird week. It's been an awful week for some, but like I say, you've got to remember, no matter how awful it's been for people involved in Paris, and it happens on a daily basis in the likes of Syria, where we are being ramped up to drop bombs. There are 8 countries at the moment dropping bombs on Syria. I don't think us doing some more bomb dropping, is going to speed up or improve the situation. Because as all terrorists do, they hide amongst civilians. And I'm going to get onto that in a second as well, because this is getting on my tits. They hide amongst civilians, so if you drop, no matter how precise your bombing is, you will kill lots of innocent civilians. And that's the point about Bob's song, The Masters of War. The Masters of War, whether they're terrorists or whether they're governments, established governments who conduct war, civilians don't even get they're an oversight. It's about strategic power. It's not about fucking people at all. It's about money. Money, 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 money. Oil, 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 oil. And about interests. It used to be, if you like reading about World War II, that was pretty much about money as well, but it was more towards maintaining our way of life. That's what you got. That was we have to make sure that we can maintain our way of life, which is fair enough. That's a nicer way of saying it. But now it's all done in our interests. Now, our interests as a country at the moment mean non-domicile tax-dodging companies that run pretty much, well, all of our industry, which isn't a great deal of industry. Hedge funders who invest in some fucking salubrious practices which really do benefit from war. So our interests really, at the way the country is now, our interests are not really the civilians' interests, because our interest, as in Britain's interests, we've got to make sure we secure Britain's interests. Britain's interests are interests of supporting people like, I don't know, Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Those cool people who don't chop people's hands and heads off. And for being gay or anything like that. They don't spread jihadi and Wahhabism every no. We get intelligence from Saudi Arabia. Well, it's probably the best place to get it, considering they fucking promote a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's back to it's that big 3-letter word. It's the biggest 3-letter word in the fucking world. Oil. It's even quick to say, isn't it? Oil. Yeah, olive oil, you know. Well, how do you know? Pwah. Not that oil. Black gold, Texas tea. Oil, that is. It's all down to oil. So the mess we're in at the moment, could it have been prevented? I don't mean the actual. There's arguments as to whether the actual attacks on Paris could have been prevented, because of there's been failings in the intelligence apparently, where there'd been the head guy had been done up by the Rozzers and then let go and all that stuff, or but that'll come out later in the day. I'm scratching me back, that's what I'm moving there. But I mean, could the whole situation of this spiraling cycle of war in a country